We are an anonymous collective of hackers, a network that lives in the shadows between data and truth, where power tries to hide the bloody numbers. We do not serve governments, and we do not serve armies. We serve evidence. Every day as propaganda floods the airwaves, our mission is simple: to find what is hidden, to decode the silence of power, and to bring the real numbers into the light, the numbers they do not want you to see. What we are about to reveal is not opinion and not rumor. It is raw, military data, economic signals, and satellite imagery, all of it proving one thing: Russia is slowly sinking in the war it started. The story begins with a leak from a Ukrainian project called "I Want to Live," a program created to help Russian soldiers surrender safely. But inside the calls and data they received, there was something more frightening. Records written in Cyrillic tables of casualties, losses, and destroyed equipment. When decoded and cross-checked through multiple independent sources, the data revealed a terrible truth. In just 8 months of the year, Russia lost 281,550 soldiers, killed, wounded, missing, or captured. Of those, about 120,700 were confirmed dead or missing. That means that almost 15,000 Russian soldiers vanish from the battlefield every month. It is a horrifying number, equal to half a division erased in only 30 days. This is not a guess. It is compared with data from independent OSINT networks, intercepted communications, and satellite images that show Russian troop strength shrinking along the front. Independent casualty analysis groups confirmed that the estimates line up, proving the leaked records are real, recorded in detail by local units, before edits, by higher command. Simply put, this is not rumor. This is a blood ledger. In modern war, the typical ratio of wounded to dead is 3 to 1, 3 wounded for every 1 killed. In these records, the ratio is almost 1 to 1. That is unprecedented. It shows that Russian units are not rescuing their wounded. They are being left on the battlefield. The military medical system is near collapse. Evacuation is no longer functioning. Survivors of the first blast often die before reaching a field hospital. Russian military doctors themselves admit they lack stretchers, bandages, plasma, and antibiotics. Wounded soldiers are left with little more than prayers. That is why this war is devouring Russia's own army. The Kremlin keeps planting the illusion of endless manpower in the minds of its people, but even its own demographic data exposes that lie. Russia does not have infinite soldiers. The pace of recruitment cannot keep up with losses. Military analysts calculate that Russia can recruit about 30,000 new troops each month. If they are losing 35,000 each month to death and injury, the math answers every claim. The Russian war machine is bleeding faster than it can heal. While blood is being spilled at the front, the Russian economy is rotting behind it. Bloomberg reported that Ukrainian drone strikes have destroyed several Russian refineries, forcing Moscow to push crude oil exports harder to keep cash flowing. Refineries in Ryazan, Samara, and Omsk were hit, collapsing domestic refining capacity. In response, Russia sells unrefined crude to China, India, and Turkey at steep discounts. S&P Global data shows that seaborne exports are not rising. They are nearly flat, contradicting the Kremlin's claim of maximum output. The reality is that refineries burn, profits fall, and the ruble weakens. Russia sells more barrels and earns less money. It is an image of strength hiding an economy that is being drained. It is not only oil. The Russian defense industry is also faltering. Factories that once produced tanks and artillery now strip old hulks to assemble new units. Satellite images show that pre-war depots once held more than 7,000 tanks, and now fewer than 20% can operate. Many are rusted, dismantled, or beyond repair. Analysts estimate that to create one battle-ready tank, Russia must strip 4 broken ones for parts. This is not the army of a rising empire. This is the undead shell of an empire falling apart. Because of this shortage, Russia is forced to send T-62 and T-55 tanks to the front museum pieces from the Soviet era, older than many of the men driving them. The result is disaster. In one battle, near Bakhmut, more than 20 Russian armored vehicles and tanks were destroyed in minutes. Ukrainian drones recorded the scene. A long line of blackened wrecks, smoke rising, and bodies scattered around them. It is living proof that outdated tactics cannot survive. In an age of drones and machine intelligence, Ukraine is evolving in the opposite direction. Civilian industries are being converted into wartime production. Daimler Truck, the company behind the Mercedes brand, is producing upgraded Zetros trucks built to withstand drones and to move across mud and broken terrain. The European defense sector is waking after decades of sleep and is restructuring production for modern war, where drones, sensors, and speed decide outcomes. In Belgium, the Thales Group has begun supplying low-cost anti-drone warheads that can be launched from helicopters or armored vehicles to create steel hail that shreds drones at close range. At the same time, Thales plants have detected many surveillance drones overhead, believed to be Russian attempts to spy on output. Russia watches from the sky because its lines on the ground have gone quiet. Meanwhile, the European Union is debating the use of frozen Russian assets, hundreds of billions of dollars to help rebuild Ukraine. Belgium and Germany have agreed. France still hesitates. When France nods, that giant pool of assets will be unlocked to support the fight that Moscow started and cannot finish. Russia is also trying to adapt, but in desperation. They have converted Iranian-made Shahed drones into remotely piloted suicide aircraft, guided by FPV cameras. 12 of them were used to attack a train in the Chernihiv region. The range is short, but it is a dangerous step. It signals a new race in offensive drones, cheap weapons that are hard to detect, and that spread fear. Ukraine answers with creativity. A small civilian N-28 aircraft has been converted into a drone hunter, and it has shot down multiple Shaheds, marking each kill with a symbol on its fuselage. These pilots are not only flying, they are rewriting the concept of war, where ingenuity beats resources. While the battlefield burns, Putin still performs victory theater on television. He claims to have taken 4 900 square kilometers and 212 settlements. When you convert that number, it is less than 1% of Ukraine's territory, a patch of land smaller than an average county in the United States. More than 100,000 Russians died to gain it. That is not victory. That is despair painted with bright colors. What is more telling is what Putin does not say. He no longer mentions taking all of Donbass, a promise repeated hundreds of times. He no longer mentions Sumy, where Russian forces were crushed. What remains are vague claims of progress. When a dictator begins to dodge numbers, it means he knows he is losing. The psychological collapse of a war does not begin with military defeat. It begins when the numbers start to lie. Russian command reports talk about victory, but the morgues tell another story. Recruiting offices pull men from schools, factories, and even prisons. Mothers whisper prayers again, as in the 1990s, when sons came home in zinc coffins. The illusion of endless bodies has shattered. The economy carries the same scars. GDP looks higher, but that rise is driven by war. Spending not real growth. Civilian sectors shrink, while the military budget swells. Oil once kept the state alive. Now it is a leaking life raft. Inflation bites into wages. The ruble slides, and Russia sells resources cheap, just to survive. We, the anonymous hackers and observers, have seen this in the data, not on TV. We see oil tankers reroute in the night. We see factories go silent. We see tank numbers disappear from depots month after month. Every line of data, every satellite image, every leaked script tells the same story. Russia is trading human lives for the fantasy of a man who cannot accept defeat. Yet within the darkness there is the light of resilience. Ukraine does not fight with resources alone. It fights with intelligence and skill. Engineers turn hobby drones into weapons. Farmers turn tractors into armored carriers. Coders hack enemy communications. Mechanics turn light planes into drone killers. That is the difference between a machine controlled by fear and a nation driven by the will to survive. The 20th century fought with tanks and mass. The 21st fights with data and intelligence. Every leaked document, every satellite image, every decoded signal is a bullet of truth. No bomb can destroy that truth. We are observers of that truth. We collect it, decode it, and expose what power hides. We read the coordinates that propaganda ignores. We see oil ships leaving port at night. We see repair depots fall quiet. We see the truth inside every line of numbers. Russia wants you to believe in its strength. The evidence shows exhaustion eating through the veins of its system. It started with one leaked document. Now it has become a chronicle of decay. Soldiers, dead factories, burning tanks rusting, and leaders lying. That is the unvarnished reality of this war. Now the question is yours. What will you do with this truth? You have seen the numbers, the evidence, and the hidden facts. Do not turn away. Share it. Talk about it. Every post, every conversation, every act that pushes back against propaganda matters. Truth is a weapon, and if enough people hold it, no one can silence everyone. We are anonymous. We exist to expose what power hides. We do not forgive. We do not forget. When truth is buried, we dig it up. When data is erased, we restore it. War is not only fought with guns, it is also fought with information. That is a front we will never abandon. Stay alert, stay aware, and remember, silence helps the powerful, but truth belongs to all of us.